So it is with my immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 2023 Compassionate Champion Awards ceremony. My name is Alana Berry, and I'm happy to be here and welcome you to our second in-person ceremony since the pandemic and the 5th anniversary of being a trauma-informed state. I would like to offer a special thanks to Wilmington University for allowing us to use their space for this celebration. Dr. Robert Resigno is currently the Assistant Vice President of Partnerships and Community Affairs and an Associate Professor at Wilmington University. Resigno has served as principal of Milford High School, in 1990 Delaware State Chamber of Commerce Superstar in Education, and was recently nominated to serve as a member of the Partnership Inc. of Delaware State Chamber and Newcastle County Chamber School Business Partnership. Please welcome Dr. Resigno.
Alana, thank you so much. Well, welcome to Wilmington University and the celebration of Delaware's Compassionate Champions. I would like to thank Governor Carney, First Lady Tracey Quillen Carney, Representative Kerry Evelyn Harris, Secretary Mark Holodick, Secretary Claire DeMatteis, Commissioner Monroe Hudson, and Rita Landgraf, former Secretary of Health and Human Services, and our first Legacy Award winner. And I'd also like to thank all the Compassionate Champions and all of our guests. Congratulations to the 2023 awardees. Susan Conley, Delaware Department of Corrections, Bishop George Gibson, Interdenominational Ministers Action Council, Dr. Kevin Dickerson, Superintendent, and Dr. Brittany Hazard, Supervisor of Equity and Support of the Milford School District, and one of my students that I'm very, very proud of. Rosemary Boffman of Courageous Hearts, and our first Chance Youth Award, Ashley Flowers. First, this celebration came about because First Lady Carney spearheaded the focus on trauma-informed approach, and Governor Carney, his Executive Order 24 in 2018, mandated that Delaware become a trauma-informed state and establish the Compassionate Champion Award. As you all know, Wilmington University has been out in front in sharing and delivering the trauma-informed approach to many agencies in the state and has made it one of our university initiatives. At this time, I wanted to also introduce my colleagues from Wilmington University, Dr. Deb Berkey, Director of Psychology Programs for our Center of Prevention Science, Dr. Ed Guthrie, our Dean of Behavioral Science, Dr. Matt Davis, Assistant Vice President of Academic Affairs, and Katie Burke, my right hand, and who has organized this whole event with the help of the Governor's Office. Thank you all. In thinking about tonight, I thought of 3 words: champion, compassion, and charisma. So what does champion mean? A winner of a first prize or first place in a competition, an advocate or defender, a fighter, and one that does battle for another's rights or honor. And I thought about reflecting on those definitions of a champion, which these evening award winners represent. Defender, defending the people you serve, assisting and helping. Fighter, many times you have to fight for those that are in need. But the one that strikes me is the one that does battle for another's right or honor. So many times in your field, you are doing that because many times the people you are helping are unable to do that for themselves. It demonstrates both courage, which is that outward action, and demonstrates compassion for those that you are defending. Which brings us to our second word, compassion. Brene Brown states, "Courage gives us a voice, and compassion gives us an ear." Without both, there is no opportunity for empathy and connection. Compassion is a demonstration of empathy. Brené Brown continues, empathy is no script. There is no right way or wrong way to do it. It's simply listening, holding space, withholding judgment, emotionally connecting, and communicating that incredibly healing message of, you're not alone. It is simply listening, but all of you know that listening is not simple. It must be empathic. It is a true meaning of Stephen Covey's Habit 5, which says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. And those of you in this business know that empathic listening is exhausting. The folks in this room understand that empathic listening requires you to be fully immersed on and what that person you are supporting is experiencing. According to Rogers, being empathic is complex, demanding, and strong, yet also subtle and gentle. It is a way of being. It is making the person that is speaking, giving them a feeling that the listener's focus is totally on them, not judging, not telling them what to do, but being understanding. It is making that person feel special, which is the definition of charisma according to John Maxwell, which is the third word I like to share, charisma. John Maxwell teaches us charisma, sorry, Governor, is not a politician's ability to give a great speech. Oh, come on. It is about putting a 10 on everyone's head, making that person feel special. As stated earlier, it is the important healing message that you're not alone. So many times we say, oh, that person has charisma, which kind of implies that maybe we don't or not sure, you know. But we all have the ability to demonstrate charisma. So let me share a quick story. Two of the most famous British prime ministers were William Gladstone, who was the leader of the Liberal Party, and Benjamin Disraeli, leader of the Conservative Party. Needless to say, they were rivals, serving as Britain's prime ministers in the same era in the late 1800s. They were both at a dinner party where a woman guest commented, "When I was speaking to Prime Minister Gladstone, he gave me the impression he was the smartest person in the room. After talking to Prime Minister Disraeli, I felt like I was the smartest person in England." Simply said, charisma, making the other person feel like the most important person in the room. To the champions, your recognition tonight has demonstrated you are champions, that you have demonstrated compassion, and possess the gift of charisma. You are all creating a legacy of compassion. Let me be clear from a quote that I read last year. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. On behalf of Wilmington University, congratulations to all the winners tonight. Let's all enjoy this incredible evening, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ricigno, for your partnership. In addition to allowing us use this beautiful space, Wilmington University and Dr. Ricigno have graciously offered to donate free academic courses for our student winners this evening. So as a part of my role, I serve as the statewide trauma-informed care coordinator, which allows me the opportunity to work with a variety of individuals throughout the state, many of you in the room tonight. And so as we enter into tonight's conversation, we'd like to hear from one of our partners, Erin Mitchell of Trauma Matters Delaware, who can give a little bit more insight on the work that TMD does.
Good evening. Truly a grassroots organization, the origins of TMD began in 2013, a decade ago. when 7 partners, many of whom are still involved with our organization and are here this evening, convened to discuss opportunities to collaborate and to promote trauma-informed work. Fast forward through 10 years of hard work and dedication from many, and Trauma Matters Delaware serves as the state's backbone organization committed to collaborating with various entities to prevent and reduce trauma and to foster an atmosphere of safety, trust, and hope across Delaware. At TMD, we strive for diversity and inclusiveness in our leadership, and all of our activities are guided by the principles of integrity, accountability, and cultural humility. That's for you, Doc. As an organization, we recognize that self-reflection is critical for continuous learning and improvement as we work to elevate community voices and foster a culture of resilience and healing. Last, but certainly not least, Trauma Matters Delaware would not be possible without the support of many. We have the utmost gratitude for the work of Governor Carney, First Lady Quillen and Carney, the Office of the Governor, Family Services Cabinet Council, and our dedicated Board of Directors and many volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. One of our most notable and tireless champions is our First Lady, Tracey Quillen Carney. Over the years, she has worked alongside of many partners in our state to bring awareness to trauma in Delaware. In her words, Trauma Awareness Month is an opportunity for all of us to engage with our community and learn how to prevent and interrupt cycles of trauma, especially for our children. And now I'd like to introduce First Lady Tracey Quillen Carney.
Thank you. Thanks, Alana. I was going to get dressed like Alana tonight, but then I remembered that our theme for Trauma Awareness Month is You Belong. I have a shirt for that. So thanks for your indulgence. And in fact, this is a big night for thank yous. Thanks to our friends at Wilmington University, to the leadership past and present at TMD, to the governor, lieutenant governor, and their teams for making Delaware a national leader in promoting prevention and mitigation of trauma. Thanks to our honorees tonight, and to everyone who does this work every day. Your service to our neighbors serves and inspires us all. Thanks to career-long leaders like Rita Landgraf, to emerging leaders like Ashley Flowers, to spirit raisers like DJ Sophia, and I myself also want to thank the colleagues who have welcomed me into this essential work. You get to be First Lady because you're married to the governor, but what you get to do as First Lady depends almost entirely on partnerships. And it has been the privilege of a lifetime to partner with so many extraordinary people in and beyond this room. Because of the strength of that collaboration, we've been able to gain from and contribute to national efforts to develop and share strategies that work and policies that make sense. In the first Spouses Program of the National Governors Association, we started a working group we called Prevention to Thrive. That working group evolved in a couple of important ways. First, if you were watching the slideshow before the program formally started, you may have seen pictures of this first event. Last fall, with support from Casey Family Programs and the American Academy of Pediatrics, First Spouses from around the country led delegations to a summit in Washington, D.C. to meet with national policy leaders about youth mental health. Each delegation included the first spouse, a pediatrician, and the most important advocates of all for young people. 2 from each state, speaking for themselves, for their peers, and for their younger selves. Young people who have experienced severe adversity and could speak directly to what makes a difference in their ability to move forward and even to give back. I want to thank, you see them in the picture when that slideshow comes back on. Maida Barrios and Leigh Hurst, as well as Dr. Jonathan Miller, for being part of our Delaware delegation. Leigh and Maida not only got to speak directly to the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, they also met with top staff from our congressional delegation, and for good measure, they got a few minutes with the president. And in all of those conversations, they were awesome. The summit in D.C. has led to a follow-up effort here at home to make sure that young people can always have a voice in policies that affect them. And Maida and Leigh continue as leaders in that initiative. The second effort that grew out of our NGA working group is the first spouse steering committee of a national coalition called Pathways to Resilience. Pathways was founded by the healthcare group that worked with Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris, a pioneer in trauma-informed everything, when she was Surgeon General of California. It provides a national forum to help states and communities advance trauma-responsive policies and programs across sectors. That's a quote. That's the mission statement. My language would have been a little chiller. One component of the Pathways mission that I think is especially relevant tonight is they seek to elevate community and agency-based interventions, exactly the kind of work that our compassionate champions do. How meaningful it is to celebrate and spread the word about such leadership, and also to remember the ways in which we can all be compassionate champions. To quote a friend and mentor, you don't have to be a therapist to be therapeutic. Progress starts when a critical mass of people learn and listen, when we recognize down to our bone marrow that these are our children, our veterans, our neighbors, we all belong, and we are all in this building the future business together. When we recognize that every interaction leaves a mark, and sometimes in the simplest of ways, we can take the opportunity each moment offers to make the world a little better. Thank you all for your commitment to the moment and to the future.
Thank you, First Lady Quillen Carney, for your vision and leadership. Before we move further into the program, I want to take an opportunity to delve a bit into Delaware's 5-year journey. For over a decade, stakeholders across the state of Delaware have worked to address trauma, its root causes, and its impact, thus progressing Delaware along the trauma-informed continuum. The groundwork of leaders in the state's trauma landscape inspired the state of Delaware to prioritize trauma-informed care. Their efforts led to Governor John Carney signing Executive Order 24 on October 17, 2018, which launched a formal and official effort to make Delaware a trauma-informed state. We were the first state to have any executive action around trauma-informed care. In support of EO 24, the Governor's Family Services Cabinet Council and First Lady Tracey Carney initiative seeks to develop the path for becoming a trauma-informed state. Along this journey, we set out to do several things. One, with the partnership of Trauma Matters Delaware, we established a backbone through a public-private partnership to support the launch of this work across the state, both within state agencies and external to state agencies. We worked alongside anchor institutions like BB Healthcare to make progress along the trauma-informed continuum. We invested in community members as designers and facilitators of effective trauma initiatives. Much of that work launched to the Community Healing Work Group under Trauma Matters Delaware. We enabled employers and institutions of higher education to cultivate a trauma-informed workforce, and we thank our partners in the room, Wilmington University and Dr. Deb Berkey, for really leading that effort. We increased protective factors and supports for staff exposed to primary, secondary, and vicarious trauma. Dr. Langford leads that group under Trauma Matters Delaware. We seek to increase access to culturally responsive trauma-specific interventions and healing practices, really, again, thanking the efforts of Delaware State University and their Trauma Academy. And we set out to create an evaluation system and standards to monitor progress around our work in the state to become trauma-informed. And we've done that in partnership with our Department of Human Resources and agencies across the state to really establish what it means to move across the trauma continuum. And lastly, our Department of Education has worked very closely with our K-12 schools across the state and through Project Thrive. I want to thank Dr. Terry Lawler for all of her work to really build a system across the state where our school districts are really centering trauma-informed care and social-emotional learning for all of our students. And so thanks to Dr. Terry Lawler's introduction of one of Delaware's teen phenoms and local DJ who's making waves around the world with her DJ talents, I want to welcome DJ Sophia Rocks, who's with us tonight, to share a little bit about her story.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sophia Clayton, also known as DJ Sophia Rocks, and I'm a local DJ, and I'm just so honored and so thankful to be here with all of you guys tonight. So thank you guys for that. So a little bit about myself is that when I was first born, I was born with a heart defect, and so at age 2, I was always going through lots of different doctor visits up at AI DuPont and stuff all the time. So it's really, really glad that I'm glad that I made it through that okay. At age 2, it's probably really the big question right now is how I became a DJ. It's not a common thing, but you know, my dad over there with the big camera right there, that's Dad. That's my dad right there. He taught me everything I know from DJing from age 2, and you know, I just really had an inspiration for it because you know, my dad used to DJ himself, so being in the room with him and hearing all the different music from 80s music to 90s music to new 2000s music, I was really just had an ear for music. You know, I wasn't obviously mature enough to touch the equipment at the time because I could break it. So, yeah, when I obviously got a little older and mature enough, I was able to touch the equipment. My dad would let me touch it every once in a while here and there. And you know, he had a keyboard in his room, so I got to play on that and touch on that all the time. When I got to age 6, that's when things started to get a little serious. But from 2 to 6, I started working more and progressively every day because my parents realized that I had a talent and that I had a spark for DJing. At age 6, I did my very first event at one of my dad's old schools I used to work at. And you know, from here on then, at age 6, I knew that DJing is what I wanted to continue to do. At the event, I was not even nervous for my first event, and that's surprising. But I went up there and I absolutely had the time of my life. It was with kids my age, it was at elementary school. And so seeing all the kids smile and dance and enjoy my music, and even the staff members doing it and seeing me, you know, absolutely up there doing it, and I just really fell in love with it from there. And even after that, my dad was like, Sophia, you gotta get on the mic. Like, you gotta tell them that you gotta go. You gotta tell them that they can eat and stuff. And I was like, back in the day, you remember like Talk to the Hand? I was like, Dad, I got it. And so I went up there and I talked on the mic, and I actually got everybody to go, and I told them that their parents had to pick them up soon and that they could go eat and stuff like that. So I got to do that. After that, we were rolling out the speakers, and someone asked for my autograph. So I was like, whoa, first event. And so I just was absolutely amazed. From here on then, I've done different events. I've worked with the NBA, I've worked with the NFL, I've done stuff at New York Fashion Week, I've done stuff for your top celebrities. I've done corporate events, I've done photo shoots with Crocs and Converse, I've done weddings, I've done all different types of things. I've been on the news, and I was also the youngest person to ever be on Rock the Bells radio and Sway in the Morning on Sirius XM on the radio. Thank you. I've also had the opportunity to work with a lot of different people, and I'm continuing to grow that as well as I get older. I've just been so thankful and so blessed to do this, and with my blessings, I've been able to share and give back to my community as well. Recently, I worked with Firefly this past, and you know, with doing that, I decided that I wanted to have a fundraiser for my school. I go to Caesar Rodney High School, I'm a freshman, And, doing that, I decided, and I had the opportunity to raise over $3,000 giving back to my school from Firefly. With that, the fundraiser was about, a lot of my students and a lot of my peers have never seen me perform live. So a lot of them see me like on Instagram and on TV and stuff like that, but they never get to see it in real time, like in the moment. So I thought it would be a really cool opportunity to be able to see me in the moment. So I decided to share and give a discount to the students at Cesar Romney High School so they could come out to Firefly that Saturday and watch me perform live and enjoy the rest of Firefly themselves. So with that being said, like I said, was able to raise over $3,000 and give back to the school for students who are in need or in need help of anything, or to just give back to the school in general. So I'm very thankful for those blessings in my life, and I'm just glad that I got to share this with you guys, and I'm glad I get to be here, and I'm glad I get to continue on with the rest of DJ.
Thank you, DJ Sophia, and our hope is that you'll get to DJ some state event soon so that we can see you live and in person. So with that, I want to pivot us to why we're all here tonight, which is to celebrate our Compassionate Champion Award winners. And to kick us off, I'm going to introduce the governor to come and give some remarks before we award our winners.
Well, good evening. I hope you had plenty to eat and drink. It's great to be here with all of you. How about that presentation? Was that unbelievable? What did you say, you were in 10th grade? DJ Sophia, I made a real big impression on her. I was talking to her up here before we got started, and I said, so tell me about spinning those records. She looked at me like I was crazy. And then I caught myself and I said, oh yeah, what do? You line things up, on your CD, like I did, completely lost. I asked Mary, my scheduler, what the expectation for my role was tonight. And she said, oh, it's easy. All you got to do is show up, thank your wife for all the great work that she's doing, thank all the other people in the room, and then sit down. And I said, well, I think I can do that. It reminds me of a visit that I had, and Secretary Haldick, I think, and maybe my wife has heard this story before. My wife has heard all of my stories, by the way. But one of the things I love to do as governor, it really is a great privilege, is to go around the state and to visit the schools. And you just learn amazing things. You got amazing students like Sophie and others, no matter where you go. And this was a visit early on, maybe in the first month or two, early on in my administration, so 2017, which is, what 20 years ago? I'm not sure if it feels like that after the pandemic. And they had it all set up. Usually when I go into this was maybe second, third graders, and they'll have me up front, and they'll have a chair there, and the children will be arrayed in the front on a carpet, and they had that set up, but they had a chair next to mine with a little second grader, third grader sitting there in the chair. And usually, when I get into a situation like that, the kids they'll have their hand up, and I'll go to one and I'll go to the other. A little girl stopped me and she said, "Governor, we have questions on the board." And I looked next to her and there was a board, and there they were. There were like 10 questions. And I had kind of seen it as I walked up, and I didn't want to go to the questions first because the first question was, what's the most important part of your job as the governor? And I had been lieutenant governor for 8 years. I ran for governor unsuccessfully once. I'd just been elected governor, and I had never really thought of the answer to that question. It was always like, what's your policy on education, on economic development, protecting the environment, trauma-informed care, whatever it was, focused on the policy. And in that moment, I realized, the governor really doesn't do anything. Finally, I got a laugh out of that line. Most of the time, people are like, am I supposed to laugh? Is he really serious? Is he kidding? No, I don't make sure that our correctional, the prisoners stay in their place and they don't get out, and I'm not a teacher, I'm not a social worker, I don't do this trauma-informed care, but my job as governor is to enable other people to do their job and to do it better. And it's a great job when you have really good people, when you have a wife like Tracey. Like, she is all in on this effort. It comes right from here because she walks the talk. She respects everybody for who they are and what they are. And she is able to bring that to all the others. And of course, she's the smartest person that I know by a lot. And she spends a lot of time on her remarks. You know, me, I'm sitting there 2 minutes ago thinking, what am I going to say in front of this crowd? Because Mary said, all I got to do is show up and say thank you and congratulations. But she was at the table last night preparing her remarks, as she always do, and I want to thank her first, as Mary said I should do. If you remembered in her remarks that one of the key things is for folks to listen. Did you notice who she was looking at when she said that? But honestly, as I think of my job, which is really to enable all of you to do the great work that you do, and what kind of state that I want to leave with all of you after my 8 years in service. And being a compassionate state has got to be right up there at the top when you think of it, because that's really the role of government, right? To put others before oneself. I think that Dr. Ricigno did a really good job of talking about what compassion really is about. And it's what all of you do. And in doing so, you make the people that you work with better, stronger. You make our state a better place to live in. And I just want to thank you as your governor, as the guy who enables you to do, tries to enable you to do all the work. I should please help me thank Alana and my team. They're in the. There are other staff in the back. You know, in my house, I had 8 brothers and sisters, and we had the adults table and the kids table. And you wanted to be at the kids table, which is where those guys are in the back, because that's where all the fun was. You didn't want to be at the adults table because that's where mom and dad was, and you had to behave yourself. But that's our team back there. All of you are folks that allow this to happen. Let me close with this, and that's to thank Rita Landgraf for starting this off in the previous administration. You know, she started doing this work and thinking of others long before she went to head up the hardest department in state government to run, and did it with such professionalism and such compassion. And if there's one thing that you want to have for the Secretary of the Department of Health and Social Services is compassion. And Rita, this is really great to have an award in your name tonight. And to all the award recipients, I can't wait to hear your stories. I tried to go through the book and know a little bit about you. I just have tremendous respect for everything that you do, and I can't wait till you come up here and get your awards. A special note for our recipient from the Department of Correction. Probably have the hardest job maybe here. If ever there was a job where you had to think of others before yourself and how hard that is to do, thank God, and God bless you. God bless all of you for what you do.
Thank you, Governor Carney. I am going to ask you and the First Lady and Erin Mitchell to come back up to the front as we give our awards. And the first award that we're going to be giving tonight is our first ever First Chance Award that Erin will introduce the awardee.
I thought my son was going to join me up here, but he has, come on, bud. He coming? He's all dressed up. I knew he would do this, kids, today. No matter who you are or where you're from, we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential. This is just one of the reasons, standing in this very spot, we announced last year we would be creating a Compassionate Champions Youth Award category, named after the First Lady's First Chance Delaware framework. The goal of tonight's award is to ensure all of Delaware's children have a first chance to succeed. I learned about the family we're honoring tonight from one of our partners, the Delaware Coalition Against Gun Violence. The email message went a little something like this. Aaron, I'd like to introduce you to a Wilmington-based mom who lost her son to gun violence and who has truly turned her family's pain into purpose. She counsels other parents experiencing loss and grief and would be a terrific speaker for one of your future events. So, of course, I had to follow up. I first met Shawn Flowers, the mom of our Youth Award winner, back in February, virtually. She shared how her family had been devastated by the traumatic event of losing her son, Aaron, and after a few additional check-ins with the family, Shawn's emphasis on her and her daughter's work in the community, selflessly helping those in need, is really what impressed me. Tonight's First Chance Youth Award winner just turned 11 at the end of April. She's wrapping up 5th grade at Mount Pleasant Elementary, and not only does she participate in school choir, church drama team, school band, school cheer, dance, you can find this young lady and her mom delivering food, toys, and other essentials during their free time, just like you, DJ Sophia. It is my honor to present the Compassionate Champions First Chance Youth Award to Ashley Aaron Flowers, named after her brother. And actually, her mom is here tonight to accept the award because she's feeling unwell. So, Shawn Flowers, please come up and accept her award. We're going to do that again. Hold on.
So as I hope you all are aware, May is Trauma Awareness Month, and this year we're celebrating the 5th anniversary. Throughout the month of May, state agencies, community organizations hold various events centered around mental health, trauma-informed care practices, and we had our first statewide conference. Tonight, as we come together to celebrate those champions during Trauma Awareness Month. So we will now present the 2023 Compassionate Champion Awards. When your name and organization is called, please join us at the front to accept your award and take a photo with the governor and the First Lady. In the government category, the winner is Susan Connolly from the Department of Correction. Feel free to come up, Susan. Using a trauma-informed approach, Susan established an inmate patient companion care program at James Vaughn Correctional Center. First, Susan worked with the DTCC instructors to offer a home health aid certificate course to inmates, qualifying them to be patient care companion workers. Thank you, Susan. And if you'd like to say a few words, you're welcome to.
Well, you know, I couldn't have done this without the support of, at the time, Commissioner Donatius, and then also Commissioner Hudson. And my medical director. It was a whole team effort. In fact, I was just visiting with the guys today, and they are making great strides. We're improving care in our infirmary there at James Vaughn. So I give it all up to them, because without them, without their support, and also the guys, they're doing the work.
Would you like to invite the group up to take a photo? Yes, Commissioner, Secretary DeMatteis. And the Community Organizations category, the winner is the Interdenominational Ministers Action Council, IMAC, and Bishop George Gibson. IMAC, through their Faith and Trauma Advisory Council, has helped to reframe, reshape, and realign trauma-informed ministry of all faith communities they are associated with. IMAC understands how trauma impacts the faith community. Thank you, IMAC. Would you like to
I want to thank Bishop Jeffrey Broughton, who was our first vice president, and then Dr. Chaplain Shellerine Addison, who leads our new department in regards to faith and trauma. We have had quite a few successful symposiums and even had certificate programs that have given people just another look for mental illness. I took over IMAC in the midst of COVID, and so everything has changed. Robert Adams, who is the CEO of Telehealth 24/7, we work diligently together to make sure that people have a platform so that they can get help. Our environment in our hood, because the neighbors have left the hood, the environment of our hood is trauma. And so we minister to a group of people that just need other assistance and resources. I thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for this wonderful award. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
The first female chaplain of the Delaware National Guard. Now on loan to the National Guard Bureau in Washington, D.C. Come back sometime.
I'm coming back, sir. In the education category, the winner is the Milford School District with Superintendent Dickerson and Dr. Brittany Hazard. The Department of Education selected the Milford School District for their district-wide initiative and progress along the continuum towards becoming trauma-informed and a focus on social-emotional learning.
The president of the TMD board and proud Milford alum.
Yes. She's got a good camera. She'll get everybody in. I promise. As you should.
I just want to say thank you so much. Trauma Matters Delaware, Governor, First Lady, Dr. Dickerson, Milford School District, of course my family, but a huge shout out to our support services team at Milford School District. So if we could put our hands together for our team. The wonderful ladies who are joining us tonight. We have our student and family interventionist, we have our homeless liaison, we have our school counselors in elementary and middle school, we had our master's level, a social work intern. In the back is our teacher of the year and also Delaware's teacher of the year, Ms. Ashley Lockwood. Dr. Jason Peel as well, Ms. McQueen is back there as well. And I have to name everyone simply because we know that supporting children, of course, I heard someone just say, it takes a village, but we know that everyone has to be willing. And so when we look at our team, and I think about our team, it's like at a drop of a dime, Ms. Hinton at the high school as our new AP, anyone I give a call and we're ready to support our students. And that is, it's an honor for us to do. We take pride in what we do, but we have also learned that leading with humanity is critical. If no time, then today is the time. And so thank you to our team. And we have also learned that instead of thinking of urgency at its best, we think of it as passion and persistence. So thank you all so much.
Well said, Dr. Hazard. And one thing I do want to point out, because she was very humble, is her leadership of this work is phenomenal throughout our district, and her dedication to the care and well-being of all of our students, our families, our staff, and our district community is unwavering. And we're very fortunate for that, and most importantly, our students are. And as you saw up here earlier, we have an incredible team, incredible community, alumni, and right on through this room tonight, and we have an incredible team leading this work throughout our district. So we're very fortunate. Our students are very fortunate, and all of our wonderful people here tonight, our staff can really attest. We have so many wonderful students, so many great students right on through our district, but we also have an incredible amount of knowledge and care for our students throughout our district as well from our staff, so very fortunate of that. And lastly here, I just want to thank the state also for all your support of trauma-informed care for all our students and families throughout the state. Thank you. This is a wonderful evening. It is a great award for Milford School District. Thank you very much.
And in the healthcare category, the winner is Courageous Hearts. Courageous Hearts was created in 2012 with just two team members dedicated to trauma-informed care by beginning where a client is and know their story and who know their story best. Trusting that people have their own best solutions is the guiding principle, which allows their team to hold space and assist them to find these solutions.
Thank you so much. This is just beyond incredible. Both my parents are deceased, and one of the things my dad said to me one time, because I wanted to help people, he said, "You'll never make any money." But he said, "But you're gonna love it." And I do, because I followed them in so many ways. And trauma-informed care is what we live every day at Courageous Hearts. And unfortunately, all of our team couldn't be here because they're back there taking care of everybody that needs to be taken care of. But two of our team members were able to arrive with me tonight. Jeff is our outreach coordinator, and Elena heads up our military program. So our military members and veterans can receive equine-assisted psychotherapy at no cost. And the other thing is you talked about the state of Delaware. They took a chance on us in 2012. They had no idea what we were talking about, and we were going to incorporate horses into mental health. And you have supported us and taught us, and we have come so far, and it's because of the support and the trust in the state and all the people behind us.
Thank you all for your exceptional work in helping make Delaware a trauma-informed state. Before we go, we have one very important and deserving award to announce. We're going to play a video so you guys can take your seats and then we'll come back up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Erin Mitchell, and I'm with Trauma Matters Delaware. As the executive director, I have the honor and privilege today of being with Rita Landgraf. Welcome. Thank you, Rita, for joining and being with us here today. Rita is the recipient of the first annual Rita Landgraf Lifetime Legacy Award. Rita, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your journey. Who has been important in your process? What has been important to you getting here today?
Well, thank you for that, Erin. So a lot of what I've learned initially through in trauma was because of my own lived experience. And being a survivor of incest deeply impacted, and still does, my entire life. But I do know that not only can you survive, you can actually thrive. You know, even when you've experienced a tremendous amount of trauma, but you can't do that by yourself. And I am extremely grateful to see over my lifetime that trauma now is recognized, and it's recognized at all levels, not just the individual level, but at the community level. And that it's recognized in a way that really does promote healing. And how do we embed that into our systems?
Thank you for sharing about your lived experience, because I think that is so important for folks to hear, that even if you're not a professional in the clinical sense, you still have very valuable insights that you can provide. And I appreciate you being willing to share that with us today. Working for and serving for DHSS was the highlight and one of your greatest privileges. How did the trauma work really begin during your time with DHSS?
We were able to recruit Leslie Brower, who was our first president of Trauma Matters Delaware, who really brought her level of expertise into Delaware to look at how do we make systems trauma informed. And how do we do that across our state? It was really important for me to ensure that as people entered into the department for services, that we would address that from the spirit of not impacting them and actually promoting more trauma, but actually impacting individuals from the spirit of, you know, how can I support you? Not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. Once you have a great appreciation for impact of trauma, you take it everywhere with you. It just is a natural evolution. And I've just been tremendously blessed that I've had the opportunity to do that, because through that, I am healing myself.
If you could give one piece of advice that would hit multiple levels or multiple generations, what would that be?
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Trauma doesn't have to define you. Again, not minimizing that it has occurred. However, I've learned a lot about the power of belonging and the power of resilience, and how do we build that muscle. And you know, what I'm so encouraged by, that wasn't taught when I was a little girl in school. But I believe now, I incorporated it in my college course to really understand your feelings, right? And to also talk about how do you build your own resilience, and how do you build tools that may be individualized to you, that will support you through your journey in good times and in bad times. Well, I think through this recognition, that is happening across our country, from as early as preschool to advanced age. And that's important. That'll make us a healthier society.
Rita Landgraf, thank you so much for all of your just positive and encouraging words, for sharing so much of your authentic self with us. And you are the reason that I belong. Thank you, Rita.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Julius Mullen, or Dr. J, and I have the distinct honor in being your board president for Trauma Matters Delaware. On behalf of our esteemed board of directors, it gives me tremendous pleasure to stand before you today and express our heartfelt appreciation to a true champion for TMD, a true champion for the citizens of Delaware, and a true champion for all of humanity, Rita Landgraf. In her various leadership capacities, Rita has been an instrumental change agent for our state for quite some time. She's also been an influential force in shaping the evolution and direction of Trauma Matters Delaware. In fact, when we often need to make a very important decision requiring the eyes and ears of the macro community, everyone will point to Rita. Rita, can you follow up with this one? People tend to listen to Rita a little bit different. We're so thankful for her dedication, commitment, and passion for our trauma-informed care across our state. It's an inspiration for us all. Throughout her tenure, Rita has made significant contributions to our organization, including her leadership as steering committee member, board member, co-vice president, where she helped cultivate the fabric of our evolving backbone organization. Rita has shared her time, her talent, her treasure with her TMD family, and we will be forever grateful for her contributions. Perhaps her most prized assets came in the form of 3 amazing gifts as she expressed compassion, courage, and cultural humility, which are all mandatory for all of us to embrace and continue to deepen the trauma-informed care platform across our state. As Rita steps down from her position off of our board, we want to take this opportunity to thank her for her invaluable contributions, her unwavering expertise, and dedication to Trauma Matters Delaware. We wish her all the best in her future endeavors, and we know that she will continue to make a positive impact wherever she goes. Thank you, Rita Landgraf.
And now, to present this inaugural Lifetime Legacy Award is Erin Mitchell, joined by TMD Board President Dr. Julius Mullen and TMD Vice Co-Chair Dr. Shatanya Langford, as well as Governor Carney and First Lady Tracey Carney. I think
I just want to thank everyone in this room for the tremendous work that you do daily. I don't think I'm really deserving of this award, but I will accept it because it's through the grace of others who do this work daily, that I have been able to survive and to actually thrive, to end up as a secretary of the most wonderful department in state government. And so I can tell you, again, trauma doesn't define who you are when you are in the grace of others. So I want to have a special thank you for those that provide clinical support, because without that, we lose lives. So thank you all. And First Lady, thank you for making this the movement that it is, where other states can replicate it. You are truly awesome. Thank you.
So let's give another round of applause for all of our champions tonight. And with that, that concludes our events this evening. I want to say thank you for coming tonight, and take a moment to congratulate all of our winners, and feel free to grab any other bites to eat on your way out. Thank you.